The following podcast may contain adult language and an abundance of salt, so buckle up, nerds. We're talking Outside the Wire. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for listening to the Salty Nerd Podcast. I am your host, the Salty Nerd. In today's episode, we're going to be discussing the Netflix original movie Outside the Wire, starring Anthony Mackie. Falcon, for people who know him from the MCU. And I am joined, as always, by my illustrious co-hosts and panel of nerds, starting with the Barbarian Space Viking. What's up, Vader?
And you hit me first.
Boom.
You hit me
Why
first.
are you always caught off guard?
I don't know. I am.
You are on a podcast, sir.
I expect him to go this way.
He's going to introduce you.
I'm mixing it up.
I'm here, man.
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
I'm here. We're good. We're on
The
video.
master masticator.
Yeah, I keep staring at myself.
I'm so beautiful.
I'm so good looking. I'm so good looking.
Yes, we're on video. We're getting used to that now.
I'm here for the chubby chasers out there. So
I'm also joined by the ambassador of estrogen, Jude. Welcome
Hello.
to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. And, of course, the author extraordinaire, Matthew Kadish.
What's up?
Hey. All right, guys.
How you doing?
You're so hard.
Like I said, we're talking about the new Netflix original movie starring Anthony Mackie, Outside the Wire. Before we get into this interesting sci-fi movie, a quick word from our sponsors. Welcome back, everybody. All right, let's dive into this movie and talk about how terrible it is.
How
Jude,
far do we have to dive?
we don't have to dive very deep.
Can we dive
You
off
can
the
just
shallow end of
dip
the
your
pool?
toe in.
Jude, why don't you tell us what this movie's all about?
All right, 2021 Outside the Wire, rated R with a runtime of 1 hour, 54 minutes. It's the year 2036, which doesn't matter. A drone pilot disobeys a direct order, which gets 2 Marines killed, and instead of court-martialing him, his superiors send him to a dangerous militarized zone to work with Anthony Mackie, an android soldier.
No.
That's it. That's as much as I could
2036?
say about it.
Yeah, that's what the year
Why
is
are they
based.
using the same trailers for the drone controls that they have out of the Air Force Base right
I
now?
will say this, though. This opening 10-minute sequence where this drone pilot, he's sitting there and he's eating his gummy bears and he's flying his drone.
Potato chips
and whatever. He's just munching on snacks as he's flying this
His
video
CBD
game.
gummies.
So I will say this. I went through this movie not knowing what year it was because I think I blinked when did they show what year it was?
Opening credits.
Because I saw the opening.
It didn't matter.
I saw the part where they explained the stuff with the words.
Yeah.
But I didn't catch the year, and I don't know why.
It was quick. They had a lot to say, and they didn't really give you a lot of time.
So
to
I
read
just
it.
assumed, near future. I just go, near future movie. So and I like that part.
Yeah.
I was like, I see stuff in the first 20 minutes of this movie that I go, okay, this movie's going to be kind of neat.
Yeah.
Because it's set in a near realistic future. I can see these drone pilots out there in their trailers, 20 miles north of us here.
Yeah.
Doing their thing.
With the Boston Dynamics dog soldiers and stuff like that.
Absolutely. I saw tech that I've actually seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that they use now, and it was interesting.
It was only 16 years from now.
And then they had, the robot soldiers. I thought those were kind of cool. It's like, okay, well, there's a sci-fi element. And
They
then
called them Gumps.
Yeah, Gumps. And I go, well,
Which also
in my
didn't
brain,
matter.
in my head, where those are coming. That stuff stuff is going to happen.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we're in the year 2300 and we have these freaking super smart androids.
Oh, with Anthony Mackie. Yeah,
and
he's somehow
I'm like, where the fuck did this guy come from? It's like holy technological leap, Batman.
Yeah.
That was crazy to me. They were not that far ahead if we're keeping realistic everything else.
Yeah, they made a bit of a leap on that one.
Huge leap.
Huge leap on that one.
Huge leap.
I will say, I was kind of talking about it a little bit, but this opening sequence where you have this drone pilot, and it shows, this is a real thing that happens. You have these guys, these military dudes who sit in these little connexes and they fly their drones and they blow people away using missiles and stuff like that. And they have this disconnect as opposed to the boots on the ground, and they're in the shit and they're getting fired at and they're fighting for their life. There's a huge difference in those two types of soldiers. And in the real world, that's an actual thing that people have to deal with. These drone pilots have serious issues that they have to compensate for in their everyday life. Oh my God, I have to deal with this aspect of my life where I'm it's fake, but it's real, and there's real consequences to something that I'm completely disconnected to. I thought they were going to lean more on that.
Yeah, I did too.
And I really liked that aspect of it. And I thought it was an interesting idea to kind of push the post-traumatic stress that comes along with that kind of thing. But they kind of just shove it to the side, and it has no real bearing on the rest of the movie.
That wasn't even an issue.
Yeah, it was just like a whatever. Like if
they had made the movie about that,
it would have
been way better.
Yeah, yeah. But
there's recruiters recruiting kids on esports teams for this exact thing.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
The thing that got me, so like the whole premise of this movie is so freaking stupid. Like basically you have a drone pilot who makes a judgment call against orders where he basically sends in a Hellfire missile in the middle of an ambush where American soldiers were ambushed. 2 American soldiers end up dying, but to him it's justified because he's like, well, I killed 2 to save
38
or something like that. And instead of like court-martialing him or putting him in prison like they normally would, they decide to send him into a combat zone and have him
to let him know what it's like.
To have him experience the realities of war. But here's the thing: he's a freaking pilot.
Yeah.
All right. He would not be put into a combat zone. If anything, he'd be given like an actual jet to fly.
All Marines are trained to fight.
Through boot camp.
They all go through the same boot camp.
Yeah. Is he a Marine though? I can't remember.
Okay. Was he?
Yeah, I think so. I find the premise itself is like, okay, if that's the direction they want to go, fine, whatever.
This is Training Day though. This is basically Training Day.
I was just going to say, I knew immediately that Anthony Mackie was going to double cross and flip sides and turn out to be a bad guy because he was giving me Denzel Training Day the whole time. And I was like, okay, he's going to turn out to be a bad guy. And then spoiler, he's a bad guy. But also I was having a hard time following everything that was going on because nothing really made sense. And also I didn't care.
It was very dull.
Yeah.
Like the way that they brought the story.
Caters fell asleep like 7 times.
I did. It was really.
I had to rewatch it because
he fell asleep once for every hour this movie actually was.
This was the movie yesterday. Like my wife's really she's getting pissed off at me. I'm just going to say this right now because I always procrastinate to watch at least one movie till Monday. And Monday is our day. It's the day we hang out.
He's like, babe, I got this great movie for us to watch together.
And I'm like,
it's couple time.
This is like the 4th time I've done this. So, hey, I got this movie I want to watch. You want to watch this one with me? And she's like, okay, fine. So, and I had a hockey game. Hockey game was on at 7, so I had to turn this thing on like 4, right? And so I turned this thing on, and it's going long. First 20 minutes is like, okay, this is kind of cool. She gets up. She's out. I'm going to go to the room and watch a soap. I was like, okay.
It's funny.
So that's the rest of my evening.
It's funny that
the wife is in the bedroom and I'm watching hockey in this terrible fucking movie.
I was pissed off that I had to watch this too. And he's sleeping through the whole thing.
And I kept on looking at my watch and I'm like, and I kept pushing pause and I'm going, God, this movie's never going to end.
Yeah.
It's never going to end. I felt like I was in like 2.5 hours.
It dragged
and I
so
pushed
hard.
pause
and
I'm in 48 minutes and it's still got an hour and 10 minutes to go. And I'm like, oh my God.
Well, you know what's funny? This movie was made by a director named Mikhail Hafstrom, and he directed this movie called Escape Plan, which was the first movie that Schwarzenegger and Stallone ever teamed up to do. And if you've ever seen that movie, it's as boring as this movie is.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's really boring. So this director has like a track record of making... I call them slaction movies.
That's good.
Because they're action movies that lack in anything interesting. Basically, this movie is just action scene after action scene where you don't care and everything's boring and nothing makes sense.
Yeah.
The fact that they have the most sophisticated android ever invented who is programmed to feel pain because it helps him to empathize with humanity that he wants to nuke. like this, none of this makes any sense to me.
And Euron Greyjoy is the other bad guy.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I thought we were going to get a movie like we got with Thor with Hemsworth.
Oh, Extraction.
I thought we were going to get an Extraction type movie.
Okay.
I was expecting the same thing.
Or another movie like what was the one with the team who are like they're immortal that we watched a few months ago.
Old Guard.
These Netflix movies that are they're not great, but they're good enough.
I don't know. Extraction was
was really
Extraction was good.
But I was kind of pumped for this when you said, "Hey, let's watch this."
Yeah.
because I'm thinking, okay, Extraction and Old Guard.
Yeah.
Netflix
Falcon.
Or even what was that? What was that one with Amel, the Amel cousins or whatever? Section 8 or something like that.
Oh yeah. And
that was also pretty.
and
really
I was
good.
like, okay, and they're giving Anthony Mackie a vehicle here, so he can not have to put falcon wings on his back, and give us something cool like they did with Hemsworth and these other actors. And man, this thing just fell on its face.
So this is one of those Netflix original movies. Netflix is doing something right now because of the lockdowns where they're trying to put out a new movie every week.
Yeah.
And you can tell like this felt like a low budget, movie in a lot of ways, because there's a lot of time where people are just talking and
a lot of slow motion walking.
Yeah.
And a lot of really boring discussions.
And characters you just don't care about at all, stakes that you don't give a crap about. Like the thing that made the Hemsworth movie really good, Extraction, was that you cared about the characters, you cared about what was happening, like there were actual stakes involved.
Yeah.
In this movie, like it was just like boring talking scene, followed by boring action scene, followed by more boring talking scenes. Like when I was rewatching this, because I did fall asleep like 5 to 6 times the first time around. There's a scene where at the end, once the evil android's plan is revealed to our main character, he calls up one of his buddies at the frickin',
Nevada Air Force Base.
At the Air Force,
At Creech.
the people who fly the drones. And he's like, you got to do this for me. You got to do this for me. Meanwhile, his 2 superior officers are right there. They could have just ordered her to do it. Like nothing in this movie makes sense. And in fact, like Anthony Mackie, the fact that he's so sophisticated that he acts like a real human being, they spend so much time trying to set up why he's like that.
Oh yeah, they explain.
It makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, it's just his interaction with the boring ass actor who's playing the main character.
Yeah.
I felt nothing
Dude,
for that guy.
okay, I want to talk.
But it's just expedition jump
Yes.
after expedition dump. And
Yes.
it's just like
Exposition.
I'm sorry.
Expedition is a Ford vehicle.
Kate is just telling me how to
Or a
pronounce
journey.
something. But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It's just,
I do.
This guy was boring as hell, and Mackie was just he just vomited shit out of his
Yeah,
mouth.
so here's what the difference was for me between Extraction and this movie. In Extraction, you have your main character has layers. He has quiet moments, he has introspective moments, and then he has his like
Explosive
coming at
action,
you
yeah.
out of 10 moments. Anthony Mackie through the whole thing was coming at me at a 10, and I was like, bro, why are you yelling at me?
I wanted to talk about that because that is the biggest thing I have about this movie is you guys know I'm really not all about the F this, F that, like throwing F-bombs out there for no reason.
There was a lot of F-bombs.
I have no problem with that, and I was like, that
it's too
does
much.
nothing for
because
me.
it was so over the top.
It made no sense. He's a robot. Why is he saying, you getting on my mother effing nerves?
And it was so,
Why?
yeah, it was
It's
so hammy.
stupid.
They actually had
it
a
was
scene.
so over the top.
They actually had a scene where Harp, the drone pilot, was like, who programmed you to curse so much?
Yeah.
And he had to stop, turn to him and say, I respond to the people I'm interacting with in the appropriate way.
It was so bad.
It was dumb.
It was
as
the
heck.
worst use of profanity in a movie I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
It was over the top. It was boring. There was no, like, do you remember the scene from iRobot where Will Smith was like, stop swearing because you're not good at it? I said
Yes.
that out loud to this movie. It
The
was
whole
like,
time I was watching this, I was like, were
Why-
they mad at Anthony Mackie and they just wanted to make a fool of him and make him like act like this and talk like this?
I think he's a better actor.
This is the what they gave him as his own vehicle.
Yeah.
This is what they gave him.
Yeah,
Do
it
they
was-
hate him?
and okay, so let's talk about the action scene. Again, we're gonna compare this to Extraction. Go
Can
ahead.
we just set out the plot real quick?
More than what you did.
Did. He's a robot. It doesn't
Bad things
matter.
happen.
It's 2036.
Nuclear missile, whatever.
All right.
Go
So,
ahead, Kadish.
so basically, in 2037, there's a civil war going on between the Ukraine and Russia. And the United States is stepping in and they create this demilitarized zone, the DMZ, between these two warring factions. And outside the military zone, or the demilitarized zone, is called outside the wire. And so they have these, kind of robot infantrymen called Gumps that are used to help supplement the human soldiers. And Anthony Mackie's character is a android that's like super sophisticated, acts just like a human, could pass as a human, but has like this weird programming thing. But for some reason, he's given a command. he's like a captain in the Marines.
And his existence is classified, but seems like everybody knows.
The superior officers know, but basically none of the grunts know, and they treat him like an actual commissioned officer. And so basically there's this like warlord who is looking to try to get nuclear launch codes from the former Soviet Union, because most of like a third of Russia's missile silos were in the Ukraine. And so a lot of these missile silos are still active. And so anyone who could have the nuclear codes could control the country. And basically the United States wants to stop that from happening. So they're intervening and they're creating a lot of like orphans and widows and stuff like that. And so they're turning the populace against them. And so Anthony Mackie's character as the android sees this happening, and he determines that he needs to do something in order to save the human race from wiping themselves out, because he does not see this ending well. So he recruits an outside-the-box thinker in the form of Harp, who is this drone pilot guy, and uses him as a way to kind of outmaneuver his own programming.
Yeah.
And basically he steals the nuclear launch codes, kills the Russian warlord, and plans to launch the nukes at America so he could kill them and show them what a bad idea robots are, so that they wouldn't make any robots. So he's going to kill like millions of people in order to save billions, and that's his justification. However, the twist is that he chose Harp because he knew Harp would eventually stop him from carrying out his master plan, and thus achieving his goal without having to kill anyone. And that's the movie.
I don't believe that for a second.
It was just really boringly done.
Yes.
I kept thinking about all of the mundane things that I would rather be doing than watching this movie. I was like, I could be doing laundry right now.
Oh man,
I could be folding the laundry now.
It's funny that Vader was talking about how he was like trying to convince his wife to watch this movie, because I was sitting down and my wife walked in the room and she was like, "Oh, I want to watch a movie with you. I'll sit down with you." And I'm like, "This is a bad time to do that." She sat
Never
down
gonna
next
do
to
that
me.
again.
She sat down next to me and she was watching this movie. She's like,
She going to labor?
No, it was like maybe 30, 40 minutes in. She kind of looks at me. She's like,
good for her for hanging in there.
yeah. She looks at me. She goes like, "This is a really bad movie, isn't it?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, this is terrible."
That's
I looked at
exactly
Kadish.
what my wife said. This is a really bad movie, huh?
I looked at Kadish when we were all done after he woke up, and he was like, "Wow, that was really boring." And I was like, "Oh, thank God." Because I was like, if you liked it, I didn't know what I was going to do with that.
You threatened to stab me in the face. She texted me.
Yeah.
She
I
was
thought
like,
for sure you were going to show up and be like, "That was awesome," and I was going to have to quit the podcast.
I haven't seen a movie that good since Sahara.
Sarah was entertaining.
I don't
This
hate
was not
Sahara.
entertaining.
This is so bad.
I'd watch Sahara on a loop for a week before I'd watch
Wonder
this.
Twin, I'm with you.
There's-
There's nothing redeemable
There
about
really
this
isn't.
movie.
The action, the CGI is questionable at best.
Mm-hmm.
The action scenes are nowhere near the level of like Extraction,
Mm-hmm.
which
Well, now I thought the whole translucent effect of him
that's what they
that was
spent their
pretty
budget
cool,
on.
but that was definitely what they spent their money on.
Yes.
The rest of it's kind of like
B movie,
video game effects
yes,
almost.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so
the blood splatter and anytime he's actually having like a hand to hand combat came out very cheesy to me.
Yeah.
And of course I'm
he's trying to be John Wick with the whole gun fu thing.
yeah, but it doesn't work.
It didn't
because
work.
it was bad editing mostly. It was because they had these cut scenes where. So for John Wick, what makes John Wick and what makes Extraction work is whenever they have this massive fight scene where it's hand-to-hand combat and it's gung fu and it's really cool, they hold the camera and they let you watch it happen.
Yep.
With this movie, they try to pull that off, but they cut every couple of seconds and they cut those
It's like,
action
oh,
scenes
he's an
up.
android. He's lightning fast.
Yeah.
And okay, well, everybody's dead.
Yeah, and it's
So,
it doesn't have that
whatever.
same effect because all the edits are just like all over the place and you don't never get to just watch the scene.
And I
Yeah,
honestly
and
didn't
there's no
even find him.
jeopardy. The character's never in jeopardy because he's a robot.
Yeah.
And I didn't even find him remarkable. Like he's this android, and I was expecting him to be like I was expecting a wow factor with,
A,
with
a
some
robot that feels pain.
Yeah, I was expecting
Yeah.
something remarkable to be in like his fighting style or his abilities or something, and he was just kind of above average as a soldier.
This was the first movie in a long time where I was watching it with the controller in my hand. And by the time he got in the car and he was driving to Russia to go to have this confrontation with MacDroid, that I fast forwarded it. I was watching it in fast forward
Wow.
on my phone. or on the TV.
You were just skipping
let's go.
Yeah.
Oh, that looks interesting. Click. And I'd watch it for 5 minutes.
And you didn't miss anything, did
Nothing.
you? No. Yeah.
I missed nothing. And then I go, okay. Okay. Oh, Mackie's hurt now. So they had some fight, and he's like, don't push the button, kid, or whatever. And then I let it play, and I got to skip like 10 minutes of the last 20.
The worst scenes in this movie were when they were in the car together, and Anthony Mackie is like giving him a hard time. I'm like, what in your programming says to let me take a look at your girlfriend's picture and then make fun of you over her. Yeah. First of all, like, how does he know that she's hot? Second of all, like, let me make fun of you over her pet name for you.
He goes, how old are you? 3? No, 5 actually.
Yeah, Anthony Mackie's robot android is 5 years old.
Oh my god, dude! This movie there's no redeeming quality to this movie. It's not fun. It's boring. The action scenes are subpar. The CGI is subpar.
They try to put in some nonsense humanistic message.
Yeah, like I said,
guns are bad. Okay, guns. War's bad. War and guns are bad.
Humans are bad.
Humans are redeemable as long as they don't build robots.
Americans are double bad.
Yeah, we're Americans are really dumb and bad because we got really good weapons and we just kill women and children.
Is there any likable character in this movie?
No, not really.
No, they gave me Euron Greyjoy, and I was like, oh, is this about to get interesting? No, they kill him immediately.
Yeah, he dies.
Euron Greyjoy? Oh, he's the
Russian
leader.
dude. Yeah, he's the Ukrainian
he's
guy.
in the movie for to get
3
his
minutes.
45 seconds.
To get his probably,
and I looked on.
I was looking at that guy and I'm going, where?
He's an overlord.
Yeah,
he's much better in Overlord.
Not because he was in Game of Thrones. He was my least favorite character.
Yeah, of course, because he's such a great shitball. Yeah. But I was looking at the cast on IMDb, and he's so far down in IMDb, and I was like, why is he so far down? And I was like, yeah, because he's not in it for very long.
He pissed me off when he shot the dragon with the crossbow.
Yeah,
it's like, what? Get the fuck out of here.
I mean, well, we watched him in Overlord, and we love that movie.
Oh yeah,
and he was
great in that.
Really great in that movie. So I mean, and Anthony Mackie's a good actor. I like him as Falcon. I like him, I've seen him as did he play Martin Luther King? In a movie with Bryan Cranston, right?
He was also really good in Hurt Locker. Yeah, and also the second season of Altered Carbon. He was very good.
Yeah, so I have to put the blame fully on the producers, writers, and directors.
Oh, this is 100%. Not Anthony Mackie's fault.
No, not at all.
I feel bad for him.
I know.
This is just
like Netflix gave him a check.
It's poor. This is poorly done.
I mean, I feel like it's been 25 minutes or so.
More than enough.
That's more than guys, don't watch this movie. It's not good.
Don't waste your life. We did it for you today.
I know Netflix put it on its #1 trending list.
I don't know why or how.
It probably is. Because everybody's out there like, oh shit, man, Falcon's in a movie. It's a war action movie. Let's watch this. And bam. And everybody else that watched it, they're going in 20 minutes and they're going, bloop, turning it off. And that's it. It's done.
I think a lot of the people who like The Last Jedi would probably like this movie.
You start this movie and then you fall into like a time hole that lasts forever.
It was funny. Because when you texted me and you were like, I've been watching this movie for 7 hours, I was like, oh, here's Jude exaggerating again. And I was watching it and I'm like,
how dare you?
Oh my God.
all three of us watched this movie at the same time.
Yeah.
And we didn't know we were doing it, but we were.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, she's right. That was when I was 48 minutes in and it felt like 3 hours.
Yes,
it does. Jesus Christ. It's like this movie's never going to end.
Jude warned us.
I tried. You never believed me.
It's like, I hate Jude right now. Yeah.
I wasn't the one that suggested this movie.
No, Kadish was. We watched.
Kadish was like, hey guys, Alex's movie that he picked this week sucks. It's not relevant. So we're going to watch this one. Okay.
I chose.
Like, okay. Yeah, whatever.
I chose the Justin Long movie, Accepted, which I love that movie.
I would have rather watched that 14 times.
I thought we had like a 2-year time.
We did, but I was like, whatever. I love Justin Long and
Blake
Accepted.
Lively.
Yeah, Blake Lively and a babyface Jonah Hill. I was like, we'll talk about that one later.
We'll just do a random show.
Yeah, it was just.
I would just like to say that it did not go down like that. All right. I said, hey, there's this new movie that Netflix just dropped.
Yeah.
Would you guys like to review that instead of this older movie?
Okay, but when Kadish does that, he has this way to he conveys his disdain for what you want to do via text in a way I've never seen anyone ever.
We all immediately go, what I read is, hey, Alex, your movie pick fucking sucks. We're going to watch this one this week.
Instead.
And in this group chat, I'm going to get everyone else to agree with me so that you feel terrible about your choice.
This is how I saw it. I was like,
this is bag on Kadish moment.
No. I'm going to defend
I
Kadish.
haven't done one of these for a while.
I know. It's fun.
I'm going to defend Kadish for a second because I broke my own rule. I usually have a rule. For these focused reviews, I try to stick within the 2-year period.
Yeah.
2018 or newer.
Keep it recent.
And when I saw Accepted was on Prime for free, and I was like, oh, I love this movie. And Jude was like, oh, I love that movie too. And I'm like, cool, let's talk about that one. It'll be fun. Mm-hmm. And then Kadish was like, well, this movie's trending and it's brand new. We should probably talk about it so that we can be current.
Which is correct.
Which is correct. And that's why I was like, okay, sure. And I was like, Anthony Mackie.
Which turned out to be wrong.
Which turned out to be a terrible choice.
So here's this thing that I do when I'm going through something that's hard.
Okay.
Like every time I'm getting like a tattoo,
okay.
I put myself in this mental space where I picture something worse happening to me so that it gets me through what I'm going through.
Okay.
And I kept doing that with this movie.
It's not as bad as Bad Taste.
This is way too much information. I kept thinking, well, I wonder what it would feel like to have like a foot in my butt.
What?
That'd be worse than this.
What?
So this isn't that bad. I was like, wonder what it would feel like to have like maybe like 3 knives in my stomach right now. That'd be worse than this. So this isn't that bad. And I kept picturing worse things happening to me in order to get through watching this movie.
I give this movie 1 finger up the bunghole. This is a 1-star crap fest, guys.
It really is.
Don't bother.
1-star crap fest.
It's not even fun as like a turn your brain off action flick. It just fails.
Do we have that T-shirt yet?
1-star crap fest
with like a little butthole per star. little star with a circle around it.
Gross. Oh Jesus!
This is a 1 brown eye movie. Yeah,
I wouldn't even give this a 1 star.
It's so bad.
This was a really bad.
I'm
movie.
really disappointed.
This is a half a star.
I think we've shit on this movie enough. Is everybody satisfied with their discussion?
For sure.
Okay.
100%.
All right, guys. Thumbs down. Don't recommend this movie.
Yeah.
Outside the Wire is a failure on all parts. Writing, directing, action. It's just no fun. It's not. I didn't have fun watching this movie.
I can't think of anything that's like, but this was good about this movie.
Yeah.
Everything was bad.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Well, that's it for Outside the Wire.
No final thoughts.
I think
Yeah.
No.
It's my
There it
final
is.
thought.
There's our final fart noise.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. And that's our final thought.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us on this podcast. I think this is the most harsh we've ever been to a movie.
I don't know.
Bad
Remember
taste.
Bad Taste?
No, but you liked that movie.
That's true. I defended
and I
it.
said that I was
I
impressed.
think this is the first time across the board we've
all
all
agreed.
agreed about the terribleness of something. Oh, you guys.
Kadish hasn't said 3 words.
Yeah. What
So
do
we're
you have
done.
any final thoughts?
He regrets nothing, I guarantee you.
I regret nothing. I'm glad that I could torture you guys by making you watch this movie.
You should try having an argument with him.
Oh, I have. It's horrible.
It's not fun.
All right, guys. That's it for Outside the Wire. Join us next week as we talk about a better movie. Before we leave,
Hopefully.
We don't know
Maybe.
yet.
Who knows?
We don't know yet.
before we leave, where can we find everybody on the socials, starting with the Ambassador of Estrogen? Where can we find you?
You can find me at I am Jude Juju on Instagram and Twitter, and you can also find me on my website at thevoiceofjude.com.
Oh, that's right. It's a great website. Go there. Vader, where can they find you?
You can find me at Matt Vader74 on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and probably some of the others that I'm fiddling around with.
Right on.
He likes to fiddle.
I like to fiddle.
I like the fiddle too. All right, Matthew Kadish, where can they find you?
They can find me at Matthew Kadish, Kadish, on Twitter, and kadishbooks.com if you want to check out my Amazon page.
Right on. And if you guys want to hang out with me, go to our Discord server, Salty Nerd Podcast. There we do all kinds of cool stuff. Just talk nerd, chat, and other cool stuff. And watch parties. We do watch parties every week where we're going to sit down and watch a movie with a bunch of people. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. And tune in next week. See you later.
Bye.